Welcome, everybody, to the Future Billionaire Podcast brought to you by TFB Productions, where we sit down with the most elite entrepreneurs in the country and ask them to share their story with the main goal of inspiring the next generation of young business professionals.
Today, we have an exciting new episode with the president and CEO of Goya Foods. Goya is the #1 ranked Hispanically owned company in the nation. So please join us in welcoming Bob Unanue. Bob, thank you for coming.
Oh, it's so great to be here, and especially with Myra Flores, who's just an incredible woman and just a fighter for uniting this country. You know, we're the second largest Latino country in the world, and we're soon to be the biggest group. So we have the opportunity, I think the responsibility to move this country in a direction toward good, toward God, toward loving, building, creating. And Myra, what she does is she champions the values that unite Latinos: God, family, work, freedom, and that unites us all. And we're seeing that as Latinos, we're being exploited, we're being abused, and I think people have had enough. We were doing well, and recently, unfortunately, some of the two biggest industries that have exploded over the last few years have been trafficking, human trafficking, and drugs. And that's all on this administration, who has just opened our borders, not just for people who want to come in here and work, hard and make a living, but for people who come in that want to exploit us, take advantage of us from 180 different countries and do us harm, quite honestly. So we need to protect what made America great, and Myra Flores is doing that and we need her again. She was already in Congress. We need her again to champion those values, that God, family, work, freedom, that have made this country so great.
Yes, sir. For those that haven't, go out and vote. Right now, it's a perfect opportunity. Vote Republican. Vote for Donald Trump. We're not afraid to say that on this platform. But like I said again, thank you for coming, Mr. Unanue. Welcome to South Texas. Welcome to our home.
Well, I'm from Houston. I'm from up north in Houston, but actually Fulcher, Katy. They call it Katy Suela. There's a lot of Venezuelans there, including my daughter-in-law. But no, Texas is great. There's 1,000 people a day coming to Texas because, we stand for freedom. We stand for these values of God, family, work, and freedom that Myra Flores is championing, and we need her in Congress. This country needs her. This country needs Donald J. Trump.
Yes, sir. Do you have anything?
Well, a lot of people know about Mr. Bob Unanue, the business professional, but who are you as a person? What are some things that people might not know about you?
Well, first of all, I just turned 70. I was born in 1954, and the world I grew up in. Thank you. Stop! Don't stop. But I was born in Jersey. They say you're from Jersey. What exit? Holy Name Hospital. So I came out of the womb as a Catholic, almost, and went through schools. All through my career in Catholic schools. In my second grade class in Maryland, there were 71 kids in the class. And, you had one teacher, a nun usually, working slave labor. But, they taught the values of what is good. And, unfortunately now, we went through this COVID, and we had 2 years where Randy Weingarten, who heads up the teachers union, closed us down, except for Texas and other states, Florida, that remained open. And this had a tremendous effect on our children. Our children, if you're sent to sit in a room and say, hey, don't get up, you lose your spirit. And you have reason to get up every day. We need purpose. We need a purpose for educating ourselves. And so I think that the few are trying to control the many, and we're being exploited. We're the #1 country buyers of trafficking. The The Latino is the number one victim of trafficking. Last year, they testified that 85,000 children went missing, sold into slavery, into sex, body parts. Now, through an Inspector General report, which is our government lost over 325,000 children. And and we're the middleman. They said, we're the middleman. We're profiting from this. But anyway, it's very unfortunate of what's happening to this country. We're not valuing life. We're not valuing each other. We need to, if we don't value ourselves, we can't love God. We can't love ourselves. We can't love others. And I have a plea to all you young people, all the youth of this country. If you see somebody, because there's so much mental health problems, if you see somebody that's hurting, that's being bullied, have the courage to stand up and say, you matter. Leave this child alone. Leave this kid alone. Teenager, whoever. You don't have to know them, but we have to reach out to them, and you can save a life. Imagine the power you have. They can save a life because people are taking their lives because they're not feeling valued. And that's our big goal. And again, Myra Flores, her thing is teaching those values. Again, myself personally, I grew up a long time ago, and I have 6 children. I have 14 grandchildren, one more on the way. And they're spread out from Massachusetts to Jersey to Texas. And my oldest grandchild, 17. And feels a beautiful gal dancer, and she feels sometimes the pressures of bullying, of this smartphone that's not that smart, but sometimes it can be very hurtful and damaging to us. So, and only recently, I have a new book out. I didn't plan on doing it, but it's about what happened to me and our company on July 9th of 2020 during COVID. I went to Washington to offer the White House, Donald Trump, a couple million pounds of food to feed a nation that was without food. The food banks were empty, and 2 million pounds turned into 5 million pounds. But I said, and the word blessed came on my lips from the Holy Spirit. I said, we're blessed to have a leader like Donald Trump, who's a builder. And that created a big backlash, quite honestly, a lot of hatred and threats, a boycott of the company. One of the big players was AOC, Julian Castro, another congressperson, Lin-Manuel Miranda, other people, some elites. They called for my firing and violence against me. But we did so good because we were there to help, and people saw that and they reacted with a boycott. They started buying our products. We did so good. Later on in the interview, it wasn't a true story, but I said, we did so good. We made AOC Employee of the Month for boosting our sales so much.
And this was after you kind of fully went in endorsing President Trump in 2020?
Well, it wasn't an endorsement. It was, and I love the guy. I think he's going to help move this country closer to God. But the word blessed, I just said we're blessed. And I've been with Obama. I've been with Michelle Obama, Barack Obama, and other presidents with their food programs. My Plate, Let's Move. And I just said we're blessed. And cancel culture erupted, spiritual war erupted. I think a spiritual war erupted that, love versus hate, build versus destroy, unite versus divide. We can disagree with people. We can't hate each other. But you see all the hatred that sometimes goes toward a Donald Trump or maybe myself or Myra Flores, because we value God. We want to move this country closer to God. And so that's evil. That basically is pure evil that comes out when those things happen. And so we were a victim of cancel culture, but we were also the recipient of this great support with a boycott, people going out and boycotting, buying our products, and we did good. So, and before that, I wouldn't be here talking to you today if I didn't make the huge mistake of saying we're blessed. And it's been 4 years. I've met extraordinary people. I've met Donald Trump. I've met recently Robert F. Kennedy Jr., who joined the party. Tulsi Gabbard was here a couple of years ago with Myra Flores, campaigning with her, and she's on the team. People are jumping ship because they see what's happening in this country is pure evil.
Do you think a lot of it had to do with the attempt on president assassination with Donald Trump?
Well, I think, when blessed came on my lips from the Holy Spirit, I believe at that moment, God put his hands on Donald J. Trump. And he said he was going to lead this country closer to God. And he hasn't let his hand off. And people have told me that. People much more spiritual than myself. But on July 13th at 6:11 in the afternoon, a bullet his head was perpendicular to a bullet, turned parallel, and it just grazed him. 6:11 is St. Paul to the Ephesians, put on the armor of God. And so, and even President Trump himself admits that this is God's hand. And I just heard that my good friend, Ben Carson, is the chairman of the Faith Initiative for the campaign. And he's such an incredible man. And I had the opportunity, the privilege of meeting him and working with him, meeting so many incredible people, meeting Myra Flores because of that incident at the White House. And so, but it's not just an incident at the White House, it's God, the Holy Spirit saying, wake up, we got to move closer to God. We got to move closer to God, and we got to love each other, respect each other, care for each other. The only thing that can conquer hatred is love. And that's what we got. It's as simple as that. But, the other side is very good at marketing and spinning it the other way. President Trump had a debate the other day. He's upset. We're all upset.
Kamala Harris, right?
Yeah.
How do you think that went?
I think, he said he's upset. This on the other side it's good vibes. But good vibes doesn't keep us out of World War III. Good vibes doesn't make the economy good. Good vibes doesn't keep children and people from being exploited and trafficked and the millions of people have died in wars. Those are good vibes. But President Trump sees this and he says, they're not after me, they're after us all. He's just in the way. And he takes it on the chin every day. He doesn't have to do what he does. Imagine getting up every day, getting your butt kicked and still staying in. Why does he do that? He does it because he loves this country and he loves us. We love him. I love him. Because he cares about us. Otherwise, you say, hey, I'm at my golf club in Bedminster. I'm here, there, the other thing. He doesn't.
He has all the money to retire. Right?
Sure. He doesn't have to
work another day
or take a beating every day. That's not. There's work and then there's getting your butt kicked. Work is good. It gives us purpose. Getting your butt kicked is not necessarily a great thing.
Yeah.
It's not a good vibe.
I agree with you. So on a lighter note,
sure.
When did this entrepreneurial mindset start? I know you've been in the business for a while now.
At 10 years old, in 1964, I worked on a production line. And I was there, for a full 40-hour week on a Christmas break. My dad gave me $20 for the week. That was 50 cents an hour. But I was there doing a monotonous job. And I thought, geez, I've been here like an hour. Look at the clock, 10 minutes have gone by. And, as a child, our day is so long. But, work is good. And so I worked every summer since then. I've been working for close to 50 years since I got out of college. And the thing is, work when you work, things have value. People are coming into this country. I worked my whole life. The average Social Security check is $1,200. An illegal can come in, undocumented, whatever you want to say, and receive $3,800 in benefits, much more than Americans do, and haven't worked a day in their lives. Why? Why do we have to work more than half a day so that someone else doesn't have to work? So, and work gives us purpose, to get up and value again. A conservative, my definition of a conservative is someone that had something to conserve. When you saw the riots and they were burning down cities, those people didn't build those cities. So why, if you build a city or town or a neighborhood, you're not going to burn it down. If you build a house, okay, I spent 2 years building this house. Now I'm going to go light a match to it.
People lost faith in this country.
Yeah.
Why do you think that? I mean, I couldn't tell you.
Well, they see that you're working day and night. I mean, I used to work 14, 16-hour days, 6 days a week, sometimes 7. The sacrifice to get, help build the company. And then to find that, you're just being attacked and that people could just walk in. Like my grandfather started the company years ago in 1936, 88 years ago.
Did he immigrate here?
Yes.
Fine, because my grandfather did too.
At 17 years old, he left Spain on a steamship for Puerto Rico. He worked there for years on his own, 17 years old, and started the company around 49 years old in 1936, which is the Spanish Civil War. He was importing products, and somebody offered him 500 cases of sardines from Morocco with a Goya name on it. He liked it. And so he was selling to the Latino community at the time, to the Spanish community at the time. Mexico was here, Spanish community. And what happens in 1945, after World War II, a huge population of Puerto Ricans came in, 59 Cuba. Cuba was a political immigration. The 70s, the Dominican. So we reached the year 2000 with 35 million Latinos, Hispanics. Now we're double that. And so, we grew as selling food, having the right product, the authentic product, the quality, to a community coming in. And an immigrant community is more loyal to their roots, language, music, food, than somebody born here. So we provide products to them that keeps, brings home to them. So, so my grandfather saw this and he passed 1976, 5 days before my dad. And, but, the company's been growing because we've reached out to this. We're part of the Latino family and the Hispanic family. And like I said, we're the second largest Hispanic country in the world. And we're going to be the biggest group. So we have this incredible responsibility with those work ethic, values of God and family, freedom. We're going to make this country. We're going to bring it back. But we all have to chip in. And like Donald Trump says, they're not after him. They're after all of us. So he's got to get in there. We got to help. And we got to just love on each other, as they say, and respect each other. And it's part of, and wake up with a purpose. If we let the government come in and say, hey, stay in bed, don't get up, or do your, go to school on a laptop, don't even get out of your pajamas. Or I tell you, I've been, this is a little bit off. I've been to Central America, Costa Rica, other places where parents have sold their children for nothing. They sell them to the cartels. The cartels sell them to us. And then we're exploiting these children. Imagine, I grew up privileged. I didn't always have money, but I grew up privileged. I had two parents that loved me. And so, but imagine you're sold. Your parent sells you to be exploited. This is what's happening. This is real. This isn't nonsense. This is real. So if we've been given the gift of love and all that, then we got to pass that along. The gift of purpose, of work, we got to pass it along, because otherwise, and they start figuring what's the root cause of this, root cause of that. The root cause of all this is evil, money and power, greed, and staying in control. They want to control us. What's happening right now is a control game of staying in power. I mean, they've actually brought people into this country to vote to stay in power. And they don't care of the millions of people who are exploited, killed, or destroyed along the way. They don't care. They care about money and power.
You recently launched the Goya Cares to combat child trafficking. Can you tell us a little bit more about this initiative?
Well, that came out of Sound of Freedom with my friend Eduardo Berastegui. Tim Ballard, played by Jim Caviezel. And it woke in me this reality of what's happening with the trafficking and this exploitation of children. And 75% of people trafficked are women, 25% are children. The U.S. is the biggest consumer, and the Latino is the biggest victim. So we go into schools, we do stuff with the teachers, the parents. We have assemblies in the school class too, bringing this awareness. And you'd be surprised the number of kids that come forward and say, "Hey, I got a situation in my house with a parent, with a relative, or with anybody that," and so they have the counselors there to take care of them, because it's not just the trafficking, it's also the mental health that's coming out of this, and kids, like I said before, not feeling valued. And again, back to the politics a little bit, and it's not about politics, it's about loving each other and bringing this country closer to God. And that's what Myra Flores is doing. We need her so badly. We need people like her. We need people like Donald J. Trump. And so Goya Cares is just a instrument to bring attention to this thing, to wake people up, to say, hey, this is real. This is a real thing.
Well, Bob, I want to kind of run you through a little bit about what we do on our show.
Right.
We're both 21 years old, and we started business at a young age. Alex, he owns a food truck, and we're constantly selling tacos from there. I own a few online stores selling hats and merchandise. And so we originally started this platform so we could inspire and kind of change the narrative for your typical 21-year-old who's turns 21 and wants to go downtown or go out for a drink and spend his young years kind of slacking. And so we built this so that we could kind of look back at it years from now, and also kind of inspire and motivate the younger generation watching. The kids that are in their teen years still wanting to get into business, wanting to be men of success, but just don't know where to start. So thank you for coming on, like I said again, because this is really going to go a long way.
Well, I really admire you, because, it's not easy. People get discouraged easy. And there's a lot of roadblocks in front of you to be, for the licensing and all that. And then at the end of the day, they want, and price gouging with supermarkets. Supermarkets make 1.4% at the end of the day. So sometimes, is it really worth it? But if you have in you this entrepreneurial desire and also to have a purpose, to get up every day and, hopefully more successful every day, But I know it's not what drives you. It drives you is that it becomes successful, and it gives you purpose, and it gives you value. So I really admire you guys for that. It's really a blessed thing, and we're blessed by you all, by you two, and your team here, and we're blessed by Mario Flores. We're blessed by Donald Trump, and all the people who want to bring this country closer to God. And it's all hands on deck right now. It's all hands on deck as we move to this election, which is very existential, and your voice makes a big difference. So God bless you for that. You're really proud of you. That's fantastic.
Question: is there a particular industry that you think us young entrepreneurs should be looking into right now?
It's a great question. I think you got to do what's your passion, and with AI, it's going to change the way things are. I think you have to be a little bit ahead of what's going on. I mean, you look at what Amazon has done with the cloud, and how they've transformed. You can order something as we're speaking, and it shows up at the door. But to be forward thinking, and there's a lot of industries you can get into, but if it's your passion, like what you're doing here, if this is your passion, then and you love what you do, then that can be. I mean, podcasts didn't exist years ago. It was the radio, television, and we had like 5 stations when I was a kid. Then we had UHF, VHF, radio. But now there's so many outlets, so much content, and to compete in that and to find a niche that where you can grow is so. But if you don't have the passion, you won't do it. But I see it, and you both the passion to do it, and that's what's going to drive you. That purpose will drive you. And
yes,
I ended up in the food business. I have an accounting degree, but quite honestly, that's a little boring if you ask me. But
that's important. Though.
Yes,
I was taking it last semester, and it was.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you have the marketing end of it, you have the economics, you have the accounting and all that. But at the end of the day, it's to be an entrepreneur. An entrepreneur is someone that is not just doing a repetitive task. It's someone who has the vision to see the forest for the trees, and at a higher level, and has the passion that no one else has. You'll find we have people in our company been with us for a long time, and they've grown in the company because they've taken on stuff. Just the initiative of being a self-starter, not waiting for someone to say, hey, jump in. Nobody wants to do that job. I'll do that job.
And what do you think causes a lot of entrepreneurs to fail nowadays?
Maybe they lack the spirit. They get discouraged too easily. You can't. A lot of people who have succeeded have failed, but they've gotten up and do it again. So if you fail, do it again. And until you find, because an entrepreneur doesn't give up. And if you have purpose, you have faith in God, you're not going to give up. So I think that's
It goes a long
the answer.
way.
Goes a long way.
Talking about vision, so Goya has been thriving for the past 75 years. Where do you see the next 25 years for Goya?
Yeah, actually 88, but the next 12, or 25. Yeah, you got to look ahead. There's a lot of challenges in food around the world. There's a lot of challenges in water supply. We have a factory here in Texas. We use about 300,000 gallons of water a day. We have our own water treatment. So the water table around the world is changing. The food availability, nutrition, President Trump and Robert F. Kennedy Jr. are talking about uh, chemicals in foods, making America healthy. You have states like New Jersey or other states that have high incidence of autism and different things. So we're on the forefront of also nutrition. Our products tend to be beans. You got protein, fiber, antioxidants, phytonutrients. You combine with rice, you get a complete protein. But it's, we have to eat healthy, and that was what we did with the Obamas. This My Plate, taking the pyramid of nutrition and breaking it into portion control into plate with the 4 food groups, and controlling. I'm not exactly a poster boy of that, but I was with Michelle Obama years ago, and we're probably the most obese country in the world because of all the wealth that we have. So, but we need, if we can control what we eat, then and eat the right things. So we focus on nutrition. We're focusing on that, on healthy eating. And we also are focusing on expanding worldwide. We're in Europe. There's almost 6 million Latinos in Spain, for example. They have different cuisines. The cuisines from Peru, from Mexico, from Colombia, from the Caribbean, they're all slightly different and corn-based or rice and beans based. And so it's so interesting to have all these cuisines and that blend into our nation with fusion, and it's just very interesting. So we can grow with that as around the world, and again, on bringing food on a nutrition to the world. And at the same time, there's a charity part of it where there's a food insecurity issue, and we're out there. We've donated food around the world, so we also want to be involved in our community, which you always have, and so that's all part of our vision.
Awesome. Well, we appreciate you so much, Mr. Unanue. I'm going to finish with this last question. We go
Sure.
around asking everybody this. What advice would you give your 21-year-old self if you had to start on all over again and knowing what you know now?
That's a good question. Well, yeah, sometimes I'd like to be 21 again with what knowledge I've acquired. But, I think, my dad asked, I'm one of 6, and he asked my sister, what's your goal in life? And she said, I want to be a nurse. And he said, no, what's your goal in life? She said, I want to be a nurse. And he said, no, your goal in life is salvation. So no matter what you do, at the end of the day, and at any age, we have to make our goal salvation, which is loving each other, respecting each other, because you can be very successful, cutting people down and being really pretty bad. But, we have to, at the end of the day, we're built, we're this gift from God with a heart that's, it's light and it's dark, the original sin. But we have to make sure that heart stays with the light and the truth. Look, I never thought that the truth mattered so much, but you see everything that's in front of you. One guy that worked with us used to say, believe none of what you read and half of what you see. But it's so easy to lie. And you look at this, Harris in this debate, for example, and they're fact checking President Trump, and they're not fact checking her, but so she can lie. It doesn't matter. And her sorority sister probably fed her all the questions. But I'm sorry, back to your question. I digress.
No
The most important thing is, and no matter what you do, go after it with a passion. So salvation, and then to have purpose. you need to have the purpose with that salvation in mind. Have a purpose to wake up, God, family, work, and work is good because work gives us value too. So work hard, have a passion for what you do, a purpose for what you do, and just try to reach salvation.
Thank you so much. Thank you for everything.
Thank you.
Joining us.
God bless you.
Go watch Sound of Freedom whenever you can. And that's it. Thank you so much.
God bless you guys. You're all the best. You guys are the best.
Bob Unanue, everybody. Thank you.